born in Detroit. I grew up here, went to Detroit public schools. When I was 10 years old, I remember saying, someday I'm gonna go away and then I'm gonna come back here and save Detroit. I would never use that kind of language now, but how messed up does your situation have to be that when you're 10 years old and you're in the only environment in which you've ever known, you know it needs fixing? We were incredibly concentrated in one industry that, through globalization, has largely reduced employment and the economy. And because the base economic jobs went, then the retail and service sector jobs went afterwards. And so we have these commercial corridors in the city now that are largely vacant. Historically, our revitalization efforts have been surrounded by the next big thing. There were big urban renewal projects in the 50s and the 60s. There was the building of the Renaissance Center that was going to save Detroit, the building of the People Mover. The Super Bowl was going to be a catalyst to save Detroit. And the reality is, it hasn't worked. There are fewer jobs per capita in Detroit than in any major city in the country. And until that changes, Detroit is not going to have a sustained economic recovery.
Good morning, TechTown. They're actually here right now. I know he's in a meeting, but he'll be out soon. Or I can also email you his contact information if you want.
TechTown is a nonprofit incubator created to help grow businesses and jobs here in the city of Detroit. And it's in every kind of field. Commercializing technology out of the university, we're working on 2 projects like that right now, or diners and wine stores out in the community. Small businesses have always been the primary source of job creation in this country. Detroit's going to come back. We need to understand that and support them however we can.
Maybe you can make 2 versions, Cook, and have one without.
We build an app that delivers a live feed of opportunities like workshops, jobs, internships directly to high schoolers.
TechTown has supported us in every way imaginable. We went through this 10-week summer accelerator. They taught us how do you build a business model, how do you pitch. We were able to push ourselves to our limits and build our idea from scratch.
We help them everything from getting financing to negotiating your license or learning about how you manage inventory, all the sort of nuts and bolts.
I grew up in Southeast Michigan, and I didn't come to Detroit so often when I was a younger kid. About a year ago, I started seeing some of my friends moving back and hearing all these cool stories about this tech revival. When I walked into TechTown and I saw the nice bright space, people here were all heads down crunching on stuff. I was like, this is where I need to be. There is so much value in the talent in this place. That's the biggest resource that any company could have.
On the non-tech side of the house, we have programs where we help small businesses out in neighborhoods around the city.
We work with businesses who are already existing in brick and mortar or entrepreneurs who are interested in launching in brick and mortar space. We used to go to the record shop. We'd walk to around the corner and we'd get our 45 or whatever, right? Those things are important to community. In order for us to stay a city that's growing, we need to have jobs also in the neighborhoods.
In the last 5 or 6 years, we've helped more than 1,000 companies to create more than 1,200 jobs. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing someone who has worked on their dream for a long time and at one point probably thought that dream wasn't going to happen. There's nothing better than watching them bring that dream into fruition.
This is going to be demoed out. The lighting is going to change.
Sometimes you need somebody to open up doors for you. We have been able to say, we have been trained by TechTown. We're opening up a business, and those private, public finance companies are like, come on in, we'll loan you money. So we're gonna pick vineyards that have...
The kinds of people that have been moving to Detroit in the last 10 to 15 years are a hardy entrepreneurial sort. And that's really important because you need a groundswell of lots and lots of little things happening. And that's why for the first time in my 40 plus years in the city, I'm really optimistic that this time is different. 100 years ago, Detroit was Silicon Valley. Risk capital from shipping, lumber, and stoves was being used to fuel these new moving carriages. We were concentrated in one industry, and to some extent we were victims of our own success. Well, we're no longer victims of our own success now. It's time for us to create some new success.
I think Detroit really is growing. I see a lot of stuff here now that wasn't.
A lot of the areas have been cleaned up. There's been a lot of money invested into redevelopment. You're seeing a lot of these startups coming here, hiring the awesome talent that's around it, and really getting a leg up over the competition elsewhere in the country.
The fact that we're coming right out of bankruptcy, the fact that we have huge social problems, it's a huge opportunity for social entrepreneurs to revitalize in the right way.
As a native Detroiter, you have an obligation to give back to your community. I love Detroit with all my heart. It's got a ton of flaws, But maybe that's why I love it so much.
When you're in a community that's really felt the pain of economic downrun, you get a little different perspective in how you should spend your time. In Detroit, we're not trying to make a quick buck. We're trying to make it a more efficient, better place to live.
The revitalization of the American city is the big challenge of our age. We often talk throughout history, have people known that they were living in a really momentous time for a certain location? Because that's the feeling we all have here. There are so many people, so many projects, dozens of places like this, arts incubators, creative folks, hundreds of little companies springing up around the city. This time there is no one big thing that's gonna save Detroit. The next big thing is 1,000 little things.